All right, we're recording. It's going.
I guess we're finally doing this. I mean, been talking for us for a while, and kind of had a couple unofficial episodes in London, Hyde Park, in Camelback Mountain in Arizona, and France.
Yes,
But
sir.
now they're finally doing it. I hope the weather is nice in Arizona because I'm certainly getting the truckers tan out here in Latvia.
Believe it or not, the weather is actually not been too bad. It's still hot, but it's not as hot as kind of past summers. So it's definitely I'm doing the opposite. I'm getting my tank top tan all in. So it's really, if I just take off my tank top, I'm screwed. But so for the people at home that are watching this is kind of the first installment of the European versus the American, the main event. Okay, and so quite simply, me and my main man Armand, we're just going to talk MMA upcoming. Sometimes we're going to talk about past events. We're going to kind of talk about who we think is going to win, and that's going to kind of be the premise of the show, me and him kind of butting heads, even though I probably think we're going to agree for the most part. But once again, we're just going to kind of see, who we think is going to win. We're going to kind of look at the odds and see if we can kind of help in that way as well, and just talk about, all things
And
MMA.
look at some sleeper picks potentially that I always like to throw in there. So, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I guess let's just dive straight into it. The next upcoming card, you got Dana. Thanks to Dana White, we have the Fight Island in Abu Dhabi now, and we can be in international waters, let's say, and we'll watch some good fights out there. So we got Volkov and Curtis Blaydes. What do you think about this fight, TJ?
Volkov and Curtis Blaydes. I think I'm actually kind of looking at the odds right now. Blaydes is a minus 400 favorite, and Volkov is a plus 310, which I find extremely interesting. So I think, it's definitely going to be a tale of the wrestling if Curtis Blaydes gets the takedown. And if you've seen, Volkov hasn't really had a lot of tests as far as the wrestling is concerned. But I think his length is going to be very odd. It's going to be very strange for someone like Curtis Blaydes. But also Curtis Blaydes is getting better with the hands as well. So I think it's definitely going to be a tale of the takedown, but I'm leaning towards, call me crazy, I actually think Volkov is going to win. I think he's going to stuff some takedowns. I think he's going to pick them apart, and I think he's going to do a pretty good job of winning. Now, I can see Blaydes definitely getting a lot of takedowns and controlling, but for some reason, I like Volkov in this one. What do you think?
This is definitely an interesting one. People tend to remember Volkov for getting knocked out by Derek Lewis. You have to remember he was completely winning that fight entirely. He was on a long winning streak starting from Bellator and in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
So, and obviously he has a lot more experience than Curtis Blaydes worldwide. And but at the same time, Curtis Blaydes, he's only lost to Francis Ngannou. So that was his only two losses. And that's the very top echelon in MMA. So, as it might be funny, you went with the European, I guess, in Volkov in this sense. Yeah, I'm going to go actually with Curtis Blaydes, going to go with the American in this
Very
one.
cool.
And I think it's going to be somewhat similar situation like Alistair Overeem. I think he showed in that fight in the past he can deal with a better striker eventually and get the takedown in and just land some vicious elbows and ground and pound. And I think he was going to put him away somewhere mid-fight.
Gotcha. That's gonna be the problem with this show, man. I can see both avenues for sure. If that happens, that would not surprise me. But for some reason, man, I don't know why, man. I like the thought of Volkov blocking some takedowns and landing some strikes. So we'll see. So I guess, like you said, the American picked the European and Volkov. You picked the American with Curtis Blaydes, and I'm already kind of trying to backtrack with my pick, but I'm sticking with Volkov. What about the bet? I feel like Volkov as being a plus 310. I don't like to bet on heavyweights because of their knockout power, but I actually don't think that's a bad sleeper pick. But, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Volkov lands a big uppercut or a big punch that knocks Blaydes out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm still going with Curtis Blaydes. I think that wrestling is going to pay dividends, especially later in the fight.
Oh, yeah. The Latvian versus the American, we're already butting heads. We're already butting heads on that one, right? And then I'm kind of looking at the next one that we wanted to talk about, the Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker. I'm extremely interested in your take on that because that's striking, man, on both cases. I'm extremely curious what you think is going to happen.
Dan Hooker is also one of the individuals that we we've been sleeping on for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
has definitely had some good striking, good wins on his record. But obviously Poirier just coming in straight from the title fight where he came actually caused some problems for Khabib in some points in the fight as well. And I think recently I've heard Justin Gaethje, talking about him absolutely annihilating Hooker, because obviously Gaethje probably has that loss to Poirier as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got to go with Dustin Poirier on this one. I think he's just reinvented himself over the last few years, especially the performances against like Max Holloway, like where he was an underdog. I think Poirier is going to take this one. It could be a knockout, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go five-minute rounds and have like an exciting striking exchange for 5 rounds straight.
Yeah, I'm with you. For sure, it's going to stay on the feet. I don't think either one is going to look for a takedown. I think they might if someone gets hurt or gets desperate, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of groundwork. I think Dustin Poirier technically has the better credentials as far as groundwork is concerned, but like you said, I think it's going to be on the feet. And I'm curious because I'm with you. I believe Dustin's going to win this fight, but the reason why I feel like Dan Hooker's got a pretty good chance or some good – because he's got a lot more tools. I'm not saying Dustin Poirier is one-dimensional, but he primarily loves his boxing. He likes to use his hands a lot more, and they're fantastic. But when you add in the elbows, the knees, and the feet, which Dan Hooker likes to mix it up a little bit more, I definitely find it interesting. And I think Dan Hooker can give it a good fight, like you said, but I gotta go with Dustin Poirier, man. I think Dustin Poirier is going to be a little bit too much with the hands, and if it does – by any stretch of the imagination, go to the ground, I think he's going to have a little bit of an edge there. And then, I mean, experience and this and that. But don't sleep on Dan, because I think that one's a pretty close fight. That one's, Dustin Poirier's about a minus 175 favorite. So that sounds about right.
I'll have to prepare the European odds next time so we can understand our formats. But yeah, that's good pick either way. Absolutely, for sure. And if you look at Dan record, I don't have Jamie like Joe Rogan, so I just managed to pull up his record and
pull it up, Armand.
That's right. And yeah, he's got wins over Gilbert Burns, Jim Miller, James Wick, and all those were knockout wins. So and Dustin Poirier having some trouble with his chin in the past, as Conor McGregor said that he has a soft head. That could, I could see Dan potentially getting a knockout, but I got to go with Dustin just on the experience and the accolades. And like I said, I think he's just reinvented himself and can still have multiple great years in the sport still.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I can't wait to see that one. Right, and then so the next one we got up is that Mike Perry versus Mickey Gall. Mike Perry is a huge favorite, and I see Armand already kind of laughing because, dude, I don't know what the heck is going to happen. Man, I really don't.
Exactly, and Mickey Gall is also always gets into these money fights like CM Punk and all these big names, Sage Northcutt and Diego Sanchez, and also you never know with him. He's had a lot of dominant wins, and at the same time, he's also had a couple of disappointing performances as well. But Mike Perry, I mean, it's almost like a coin toss. I mean, that guy can land a big knockout punch and win the fight, or he can just be annihilated like in a lot of his previous fights recently. But with all the drama recently with him, with his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, his girlfriend's going to be the only person in his corner, right?
Yeah, his girlfriend's going to be his only person in his corner, and his girl he was engaged for a while, the Platinum Princess, how they call her. Yeah. She's out of the picture, so I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to say Mickey Gall is just going to catch him in a submission. Really early in the fight, and it's going to be put Mike Perry to sleep.
Gotcha. Oh man. So it's definitely, I mean, this fight can go one of two ways. I mean, like you said, Perry keeps it on the feet, lands something big. I'm trying to think, as far as technique is concerned, who's the better striker on the feet? I know Perry's definitely got more power, but I think Mickey Gall's going to be better with better technique. And then can Gall get the takedown? Because Gall, his size is always freaks me out. He always seems to be a little bit smaller for the 170-pound weight class. Man.
You can get a choke from the bottom, do something like that, the guillotine triangle, maybe rear naked choke. I think he's gonna win by a choke.
Yeah. because Mike Perry, he definitely, I mean, he shot on Cowboy and when he shouldn't have. So obviously he's no stranger to going outside of his game plan. I'm going to go the opposite of you. I think Perry's going to get the knockout shot. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to be a little too big. I think he's going to stop the takedowns. And I think his girlfriend is going to be 1-0 as far as coaching is concerned.
Yes. Yeah. I guess that they could start like one of the next super camps, like the Miletich camp or next Jackson's or TriStar, one of the great camps.
Revolutionize the world. You don't need coaches, just your significant other and yourself. Take notes.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong, right? Gotcha.
I should find a girlfriend I can just train with and just ditch my MMA coaches and everything.
Well, if Mike Perry gets on a little bit of a winning streak and he keeps that up, we may be thinking about it a little bit more than we used to, right?
Yeah.
All right. And now the big one, the one I was really looking forward to, we got Gilbert Burns, Kamaru Usman, Volkanovski, Holloway, Aldo, and Yan, those 3 title fights. Obviously, I don't want to start off with the Usman Gilbert. I would love to start with the Jose Aldo and Petr Yan because that one I feel has got so many variables attached to it, right? I feel like they both haven't really fought the same people. I feel like Aldo's only had one fight at Bantamweight, and I feel like he looked pretty good as far as conditioning is concerned. Obviously, Marlon is a tough matchup.
Right. Reigned already at featherweight, but he somehow managed to get to bantamweight. And I heard from Nolan Yao that apparently all these years he was just eating like crap, and that he could have easily dropped down all the way to bantamweight.
Man. Well, I don't know about you, man. Like, because I know Aldo is. We can have arguments all day, but I think with he had like 6, 7, or 8 title defenses at featherweight. He's for sure one of the goats, if not the goat of the featherweight division. Of course, Max Holloway can eventually surpass that, of course. But man, dude, I find it extremely hard to bet against Petr Yan. Right? Actually, it's Petr Yan. Do you agree with that?
Petr Yan. That's right. Yeah, and I think Aldo is gonna cause him some problems, and Aldo's maybe his leg kicks are gonna play a big part in it. But I think Yan just has so much power in his hands, and I think he's gonna catch Aldo. And Aldo's been caught in the past by good boxers, like obviously
Max Holloway.
So obviously, yeah, I think Petr Yan is one of the hottest prospects in MMA right now, and he's gonna get the W, get the knockout in one of the later rounds.
Yeah, I like what you brought up with Jose Aldo's leg kicks, because what I've noticed in the last couple fights, he hasn't been throwing them as much, but like you said, they're an incredible weapon. Right. And then even Petr Yan's coming off of a win over Uriah Faber, who's always a tough, really game guy. So, man, I don't know, but like I said, I find it extremely hard to bet against Petr Yan. But he's a minus 225, so a pretty decent favorite here. That would be one of those ones that I'm not quite sure of. But if you put a gun to my head, I had to pick. I'd definitely go with Petr.
Yeah, so I think definitely you can agree on this one for sure. Before we move into the next title fight, I want to throw out Armand's sleeper pick from this undercard, and that guy is Yuri Prochazka, who's going to be making his UFC debut. And this guy's been tearing it up all around the world in Europe. He's done it also in Japan and with Ryzen as well. And he's going to be coming in against Volkan Ozdemir, who is also Mr. No Time. So
No time.
And who's actually also been kind of getting his winning ways back. But I think this is going to be one of those debuts that's going to shock a lot of people. I think if I'm looking at Prochazka's record, it's his last 2, 4, 6, 8 fights are knockout wins. And all of them been within, like, obviously they have the longer first round, but pretty much all of them have been in the first round. Completely destroyed CB Dalloway, Fabio Maldonado recently, 2 UFC fights, and I think he's on the rise. I think he's gonna get the big knockout over Volkan. It's gonna be very quickly. I think it's gonna be a gunfight. It's gonna end really quickly, and this time, Mr. Prochazka from Czech Republic is gonna win this one, and he's gonna insert him probably into that title picture.
I like that. I like that. So I'm just going to give a little bit of my feedback. So luckily, you know, I'm not even going to try to say his name. You say yeah, we're not going to say. So he's only a plus 145 underdog. So the betting people know that he's pretty game because Volkan isn't too big of a favorite. But I like the sleeper pick, man. I'm gonna not bet between these two because, like I said, I don't know the other guy nearly as much as you do. But for anybody at home looking for a sleeper, looking for something to keep your eyes on as far as the undercard is concerned, which is always helpful because sometimes, you know, it's great to get other things excited for as well. We'll take a look at that fight. And then you heard it from the European himself. He thinks he's going to get it done quick. He thinks he's going to do it no time to Mr. No Time himself. I can't wait to see if that actually happens.
Yeah, that's one of the fights I'm really looking forward to. Absolutely, for sure. Because we haven't had like a big blue chipper debuting recently in the UFC who's kind of made the name for himself outside the UFC already.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on, if you got Volkanovski, Holloway too, what do you think about this one?
Oh, man. That was such a good fight. Such a good fight. Volkanovski, first off, I'm a little surprised at this. He's a minus 210 favorite. So you got to bet 210 just to get 100 back. I think that's a much higher favorite than he should be for sure. Dude, I don't know why. It's a big part of me is leaning towards the fact that that Holloway is gonna fix the holes. He's gonna come on a little bit better. But I think Volkanovski, man, is gonna have a lot more confidence going in after he did it once. I think he knows or thinks he can do it again. Right off the bat, and my pick may change after you kind of talk about it a little bit because I am, you know, given to peer pressure a little bit sometimes. But I think Volkanovski is going to get it done again. I think it's going to look very similar. I think it's going to be a good fight, and I can see Max Holloway with his conditioning, man, and his length. I mean, if he uses that length as well as he possibly can, it's definitely going to be problems. But I see Volkanovski most likely getting it done again. What do you think?
On this one, I think Max Holloway is always evolving with his striking,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he can. He just remembering his performances against Aldo and Ortega, that Max Holloway. I feel like if he brings back that level of intensity, lands those big power shots, and I think he will have learned from some of his mistakes in Volkanovski fight and Poirier fight. And I think Max is going to be very, very close fight. Might be a close decision, maybe even a split decision. But I think Max Holloway is going to take this one and bring the belt back to Hawaii, setting up an exciting trilogy down the line.
That would be dope. So I'm going to ask you something because it sounded like you were kind of leaning to this. Do you feel like Max was just kind of off that night? Do you feel like he didn't come with as much intensity as those other fights? Is that what I'm hearing? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
I think so. I think it's just a couple of his performances against Poirier and Volkanovski. It seemed like he could have done even more because I've seen like Holloway completely going through the division, like Anthony Pettis, Jose Aldo, Brian Ortega, like people with great strike that absolutely annihilate them. And I think I think he's gonna bring back that level of intensity. He's still young. Can't write him off yet that he's on downward in his career. I think he still has a lot of upside, but wouldn't be surprised if Volkanovski wins. I think it's going to be similar to like Robert Whittaker and Yoel Romero type of scenario where all incredibly closely contested and it's going to be just go either way. But just to make things interesting, I'm going to pick Holloway getting his belt back.
Very cool, very cool. I will tell you one thing, man. I like this is one of those cases, like not saying to the other fighters we talked about, I didn't dislike all the other ones, but I like both of these guys too. So I'm kind of pulling for, I just hope the better man wins. I hope it's a hell of a fight.
Absolutely, yeah. Hopefully we can get some fight of the year candidates again. And moving on to the last fight, it would be Kamaru Usman against Gilbert Burns, who's just coming off that great performance, just straight into the title fight.
Yeah. Oh, man. Me first. Oh, man. Gilbert Burns. Right off the bat, because I don't even know how to start with it. I don't even know where to start with this. So Gilbert Burns, I feel like is just super dangerous. I mean, like he's shown that he can knock people out. I think Damian Maia's got a really good chin. I think he's shown that, but he got flatlined. well, not I wouldn't say flatline, but he got freaking rocked hard. And then his submission game, I mean, he's a world champion jiu-jitsu practitioner. And I think that's going to cause a lot of problems for someone like Kamaru, because I think Kamaru Usman is very good on the feet. And he's knocked people out, but I think he's more punches and bunches. It's like, who is the better technique there? I think Kamaru Usman might have the better technique, but I think the power goes to Gilbert, which screws me up as far as betting is concerned. And then grappling, I think Kamaru Usman is the better wrestler, getting the takedown, but can he get the takedown and stifle the jiu-jitsu in order to be successful? Because I think Gilbert Burns is being really good in jiu-jitsu, obviously more so in competitions where there's a little bit of a difference when it comes to strikes. I am leaning towards Kamaru Usman on this one. I think he's going to get it done. I think it might be a unanimous decision. I can see him getting it done, but I can see Gilbert Burns, man, pulling out a good performance. Like you said, Tyron Woodley, I mean, he looked amazing. And Tyron Woodley was out for a couple years, so I'm not sure how that played, but Tyron Woodley said he felt great, and I believe him because, you know, he's a very honest guy. But I got to go with Usman on this. It's very hard to bet against him at this point. What do you think?
Yeah, it's almost again like a coin toss, and this one, because you got Gilbert Burns, who's been incredible jiu-jitsu practitioner, and obviously I've been following this guy's career in MMA for a while when he was still undefeated early on, then had a couple of setbacks against Dan Hooker and Michael Pereira, Rashid Magomedov. So
that was all down at 155, right? All of them.
Yeah, and those he's had a couple of setbacks, but that's been a while ago, and he's definitely came back better than ever, stopping hype trains of like Olivier Aubin-Mercier, Alexei Kunchenko, which is one of the great Russian prospects as well, then beating jiu-jitsu aces Gunnar Nelson and Damian Maia, and now putting this performance of a lifetime against Woodley. So yeah, I almost want to go with Burns, but I think Kamaru is I think I'm gonna have to go with Kamaru Usman, who's kind of proven already at that championship level that he can be dominant, and I think he's gonna be quite a dominant champion for a foreseeable future. And it's kind of a shame that we never got to see Jorge involved in this title mix because of all the negotiations.
Oh, yeah, dude, all the negotiations talk right now, yeah. Obviously, it's easy for us as fans because we just want to see them fight, but obviously there's a lot more that they know kind of going behind the scenes. But I would love to see Jorge Masvidal, and I think eventually he's going to get that shot. But for now we get Burns, who I think, as you mentioned, he has definitely proven worthy. But I think Usman is just think he's just a little bit better.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put my money on this one, but yeah, I'm going to go with Kamaru Usman.
Be a decision, yeah. I would say none of these fights I feel too confident in as far as betting is concerned, right? Like, so the Usman versus Burns, Usman is a minus 185, but like I said, I like Gilbert Burns' ability to finish the fight, and he had a great performance. I would not be surprised if he got another one. Holloway and Volkanovski. Actually, even though I picked Volkanovski, this is going to be a little weird because I think Volkanovski was I like Max Holloway as a plus 175. I think that's a good bet. Like you said, I think there's going to be a lot of additions to it. Petr Yan is a minus 225 favorite. That's the one that I might risk it on because I believe very firmly that he's going to win that fight, but I might have to. I'm one of those back and forth types of guys. Mickey Gall and Mike Perry. I just don't bet on that. Just don't bet on that. There's way too many variables coming into play, and I just can't wait to see it.
The girlfriend situation and everything, yeah. So you never know what's gonna happen in that one.
You never know. And then we got Poirier,
like WWE, AEW type of matchup right there.
Oh my dude, like a mixed tag team match. You start to have like the girlfriends fight and then the boyfriends fight. Oh man, okay, now we're getting off the rails here.
And then invites Punk as the special guest referee again.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And then so with Poirier, with Hooker, I feel pretty confident if you put your money on Poirier. He was a slight favorite. I like that bet. And then the Volkov and Blaydes. I'm actually surprised still that Blaydes is a minus 400, but I think for good reason. I know I'm feeling crazy and picking Volkov, but I would never bet heavyweight. Actually, I say that, but me and my buddy Talon, we talk. Talon, shout out, one of the rising MMA prospects in flyweight in the country. And we bet on Stipe Miocic over Francis Ngannou when Francis was kind of big. So when we were watching it, we were like, you know, you get so much more into the fight and you like try to bob with him, like, get out of the way, get out of the way. So I would definitely, I like Volkov as an underdog, but man, who the heck knows?
Right. I mean, it's a couple amazing, great cards coming up. And like I said, starting the next episode, we can keep a full scorecard of a full fight card, including early prelims, do some more research, come up with a couple more on sleeper picks and scout reports. And so there's going to be great content coming up over the next few weeks.
Yeah, so for the people at home, this is our first one. We're kind of winging it. Obviously, he's all the way in Latvia. I'm here, so it's hard to kind of get this communication and plan. I think, as funny as it is, it's getting close to 10 a.m. my time. So that means I think it's like 8 p.m. your time, right? Something like that?
10-hour difference. I mean, in these times of social distancing, you got to do what you got to do, even if you're halfway across the world as well.
We're doing a hell of a job of social distancing, right? How many miles between us, right?
Probably 6,000, 5,000, something like that.
something crazy like that, brother.
Yeah.
All right, man.
What's the next few weeks look like for you?
Next couple weeks for me, man. I mean, not a whole change, man. I mean, here in Arizona, it looks like we got a mandatory mask policy, so we're gonna have to wear masks. But other than that, man, I'm going to work the same. You know, and some people may know I'm a therapist, so obviously mental health never sleeps. You know, fortunate for me, working out the same, whether it's in a gym or going for a run or going for a mountain hike. And guess what? I don't really need a whole lot of excuses to not go out. So, like I said, my life's not going to be all that different. What about yours? All the way over the pond.
We've been probably one of the least affected countries in Europe, in Latvia. And
happy for you, man.
Happily got to escape London just in time, and even took a part in jiu-jitsu competition in Europeans as a great tournament. But yeah, a couple of days later, London basically got shut down because of COVID. So you never know who was in that tournament, who was carrying what at the time. So just lucky to be back now. And I've just been using a lot of Soviet weights that my dad had left for me. So don't really need to go back to the gym. And now they recently restarted like full contact training. Everything's pretty much allowed at this point. So it's time to just get back into jiu-jitsu, getting back in striking. I feel like my limbs are getting a little rusty. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be another fun thing, is that we can kind of update on your jiu-jitsu progressions and anything else that you may do in the world of martial arts, because I know you have a bunch of experience in amateur MMA and then even more specialized striking, you know, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai and stuff like that. So we can definitely talk about that and look forward to seeing and hearing more about that. And me, I'll just still be the lazy bum at home that just kind of talks about it and hopefully one day maybe getting into it. But what's up?
Oh, you're a big guy. You're a strong guy, man.
Well, you flatter me. I promise you it's the forehead.
Still 240, like John Cena.
John can't see me. About 230, getting nice and yoked, man. But
all right.
Yeah, brother. Hey, I think that's good for this first episode. You happy with this so far?
Yeah, I mean, got to start somewhere. I mean, we're probably not going to go 3 hours like Joe Rogan initially, but we'll get there someday.
We will get there someday. All right, so I guess we'll just do the closing remarks then. So kind of like what we said in the beginning, the European, the American, butting heads, main event, talking about the upcoming fights, talking about fights that kind of passed, giving you some betting selections and help as well. And so I think we only disagreed. So Curtis Blaydes Volkov, if you're watching, just if you're cheering for me or Arman, I'm picking Volkov. He's picking Curtis Blaydes. I think we agreed on everyone else. Oh, you picked Gall. I picked Mike Perry. And then Holloway, Volkanovski, a couple differences. So I look forward to, because I thought we were going to agree a lot more, but this is what makes it exciting. So next week, we will see who won the first installment of the European versus the American. Armand, do you have any more closing remarks?
Just stay positive during these times, and thanks for listening. And you'll be checking out the next episode of the main event.
The main event. All right, brother. I'm going to stop it.